Lotarg, our friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for another orc mode workout. And today was max effort bench press day. Just a quick reminder for those of you who enjoy these videos and these vlogs, because I know you do or you wouldn't watch them every day, please click like down below. And if you guys would run through and click like on all my other videos for the day, I would greatly appreciate it. Help me keep those likes higher than the dislikes. So the random generator came up with the floor press and 20% band tension. Now I had a hell of a time getting those bands set up, and they ended up being more than 20% of my bench max, which really made the lockouts hard. Like even there when I did the 225, that lockout was really tough. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. I actually measured it and I came up with 36 pounds of bands with my scale on each side, about 5 inches from the lockout. It seemed to hold constant from there, so it just, the bands hit really, really hard. They got stretched far because it's normally a 65-pound band set. But I was happy with it. You know, it felt good. All of these felt good off the floor, all things considered. And then you guys will see what I floor press afterwards for my rep work. So really it was a case of my triceps being weak, that hard lockout. And I think what people forget when we're dealing with a lot of the band stuff and even the chain stuff, they're like, but it should only affect the lockouts. Like, no, it affects your eccentric. Okay, that's something that people miss with this and they don't think about. When you lower the weight, especially on a bench or a press of any type, you have to fight those bands at the top. So you have a lot of eccentric loading, bleeding energy, and then you have to explode back up and hit them hard. So someone else had asked me, hey Jason, what's going on with that looked like a max right there, and that pretty much was. It was really, really close. And I felt like I had a 50-50 of getting 10 more pounds. He was like, why did you do it? Why are you missing lifts? Well, let's be honest here, guys. How am I going to find my limits if I don't miss lifts? And I felt that. My triceps, on this missed lift, my triceps gave out. Right, normally on the floor presses, I'm ramping up at these. I feel it all in the pec, front delt, but a lot of pec, especially with this wide grip. I felt my triceps on this. The medial head of my triceps was just almost cramping after this miss. They were actually on fire just from the one I got. But right there, that's where that band tension hit. Like I said, remember I said about the last 5 inches? It hit that extra 72 pounds right there. I just couldn't drive through it. I didn't get enough power out of the bottom to hit it and drive through and push. Okay. Also, you guys see it's not that bad to miss a floor press. So then we went ahead and went up on weight today. We went up on weight 5 pounds, because what's going to be the rule? We're going to take all these supplemental lifts in each 3-week wave, and they're going to match the 3-week waves of my speed work, right? We're going to take these lifts and try to PR. Right, we want to get stronger every week, even if it's just little micro plates. And then at the end of that, we swap bars, and then we push again. We'll swap bars, we'll swap variations. Some of it might be different bars, some of it might be adding bands or chains or whatever. And I'll do the same thing with even the JM press, because that's an important lift for me. Because we know triceps are a weakness, but I have to build my pecs and shoulders. And we are. And I have to say, all this extra work I'm doing for my rear delts and rotators and everything is truly making an enormous difference in my shoulder range of motion. Now I have some structural limits because I have a really, really big frame and a big clavicle. And so it's kind of one of those things when I point out that I'm bigger in person. No, I would look really big if I didn't lift weights, other than toothpick arms. And that's what people don't realize. So guys meet me, they're like, oh my God, you're way, way wider than we thought you'd be. It's my bone structure. It's my bone structure. So in my case, though, it is hard for me to get good shoulder mobility due to some of it, so I have to have good muscle balance. And that's what I'm finding. I basically have been finding that I have been right on what I talk about with mobility with other people, that sometimes it's hard to apply those things to ourselves, and I've realized I am subject to the same rules I give out for everyone else. I'm not magical. I'm not special. I'm not a unique snowflake. A lot of my shoulder mobility is muscle imbalances. And as I've been building my infraspinous, posterior deltoids, and doing tons of work for all that, and all of this rotator cuff work, because people are like, what are you doing for mobility? So, well, it's not really mobility exercises. Those things didn't help me. They didn't do anything, nothing at all. Working my internal and external rotators have. Doing rear delt work has. Doing a lot of wider grip stuff has. That stuff is helping. Focusing on rowing instead of pull-ups. Now, I'm going to be adding pull-ups back in, but that's one of the things I'm going to point out. I've seen data on that showing that if you do way too many chin-ups and pull-ups and not enough rowing, you're predisposed to shoulder impingement. Yep. Deal with it, guys. Better learn to accept that. You can't neglect rowing. We need vertical and horizontal pulling. And if we want perfect muscle balance and healthy shoulders, we need to be good at both. We need to have a very good base at both, and we can't be imbalanced. Now, in my case, though, I mean, again, I'm needing more and more rear delt. But I've been building all those areas and working my whole upper back a lot more. But that was a PR. I got 3 sets of 10. 3 sets of 10. The first set was hard. The second 2 were not as bad. With 240 on my floor press. And we'll keep working that up. You know, another week of it after this, and then we go to a different wave. Added fractional plates to this. The first set was a little harder. Everything felt like it crackled into place because I haven't done any overhead work since Thursday. Everything kind of got out of whack. And I'll get used to all of this again, but I felt like a ton of stuff in my shoulders and upper back just all crackled and popped for the first 3 or 4 reps, and then it all loosened up. It all pulled into place. And then the next 2 sets felt great. It's like, aha, my shoulders feel good. But the wide grip stuff is really working well for me now that I've been working on my upper back more. And the posterior delts. This is working really well, and that's what I've realized. Wider and wider grip stuff is really going to be the way to go for me. Pretty much on most of my upper body stuff, unless I have a specific need, like some of my tricep work. All right, that's where the work needs to be. And I felt these tremendously. My side delt, upper chest. That's the other thing. I've always been really, really strong at the really close grip overhead pressing, right? You guys have seen me hit pretty legit numbers. Even better, way better than my bench. But it's a front delt, and it's left me with front delts that are strong, and it's predisposed me to all sorts of shoulder inflammation and things. This hits my side delts so much harder with this wider grip, right? It hits them tremendously harder. It's like night and day. Same thing, my upper chest, and I think part of it's because of the way I lay back, but then also the stretch on it, right? Upper chest, side delts, all that stuff being hammered here. And I can get a better range of motion at the top. And I still have to continue to work on that, but look how much better that is than what I used to have. It's not perfect. I still need to continue to improve overhead mobility, but it's improving. And that's the point. We are seeing improvements. Definitely seeing improvements. I've had some people asking, man, how much weight have you lost? Definitely, we can see the body fat losing. Of course, I still got loose skin and everything. And I still carry a lot in my lower back. It's only 7 pounds, guys. But I gained 12 pounds. I've lost 7, and I'm probably close to as lean as I was before, and I'll continue to get leaner from here, which means we gained muscle. But I'll continue to get leaner. I need to get to a lower body weight than before I gained that 12 pounds, not just get the 12 pounds off. Because I wasn't at an ideal body fat even then. So I'll continue to do so, but we have to gain strength and muscle while we do it. That's why I'm slow cutting. That's why I'm being meticulous with what I'm doing, because we never sacrifice performance. There's no reason to ever sacrifice performance. We always improve. And if you're cutting so fast that you're losing performance, I don't know what you're doing. Like, why are you bothering? Because nobody who's a physique competitor is watching my channel. This is a strength channel, sports channel. So you're not trying to get totally shredded and lose all your strength and muscle. So we just get leaner for our health. We get leaner for our athleticism, right? And that's a good reason to get lean. Sure, you'll probably look better, but that's subjective. JM presses, though, they went pretty good today. And again, some people will say, well, I don't like the way you do them. Well, I don't care. Nobody asked you. Doesn't matter. Are they working the muscles where I need them to work? Yes. Does it carry over to my performance? Yes. Is it hitting the head of the tricep extremely hard that I felt giving out on that bench? Yes. Well, that's what matters. We build the muscles that we want in the way that we want without injuring ourselves, and we are doing a lift correctly. How's that for form coaching? There we go. And if you can't agree with that statement, you're an idiot and you do not need to ever coach another human being or give advice ever for the rest of your life until you can understand that statement. You are not qualified to give advice to people on how to perform a lift if you cannot grasp and agree with what I just said. Are we working the muscles in the way that we want to work them without causing injury or inflammation? Yes. Then that is the correct way to perform that lift. The difference being if we're going for a 1 rep max in competitive environment, that's different. We're not doing that to work muscles. We're not doing that for hypertrophy. We're doing that to lift weights in a competitive environment. That's a different beast. And when I deal with stuff like my conventional deadlift, that's what we do. So these are doing what I want them to do, right? Inverted rows. I tried to go a hair wider on these. It is a little harder to grip with that axle bar. Try to get them really wide because, again, I want to continue to work that whole upper back. And, yeah, I'm on 12 inches now for my elevation, which sets of 10 are challenging now. Sets of 10 are actually hard with my heels that high, and that's good. That's what we want. That's what we want. But, again, I've had a lot of luck with these. This lift has been very, very pivotal in me helping get my rear delt stronger. It's obviously not the only thing I do. Other people are like, what else do you do? Well, I do band pull-aparts on all 4 of my main training days. So later today, I'll do like 3 sets. So I do about 12 sets of those every week. 12 sets of the inverted rows. All right? So 3 of each on all my main training days. I'm actually leaving my rear delts mostly alone on my off days now, because they do need some recovery. I'm doing a lot more weighted carries, or you guys saw the isometrics from this weekend, reverse hypers, ab work. I have been doing a lot of band press downs. I may cut those out and just hammer my triceps more during my main sessions. I need to just focus on getting my triceps bigger and stronger during the 2 upper body days. And we can hit our maximum recoverable volume for the week on these 2 days, really. And then I can focus on other stuff. I just went ahead and left the microplates on that I had for the JM press and had rolled this over to the side. My wide grip upright rows. And yes, I'm aware I'm cheating some, and I don't care. Again, it's hitting my whole shoulder girdle. It feels great. I get DOMs in my shoulders sometimes after doing these, at least the first few weeks. Okay? Does what I want it to do. I am probably going to start messing with snatch grip high pulls and hang cleans and other stuff for my shoulders. But that's a separate topic. Totally separate topic. Because that's why I'm just getting a little cheaty with these and getting wider. I'm going to eventually turn it into hang cleans. Or I mean snatch grip high pulls. And I don't care what people think of the form on it, because I am not trying to be an Olympic lifter. And people need to understand that difference. Olympic lifters have this bizarre notion that you have to lift with the textbook beautiful techniques that they have developed to build muscle with the exercise. I'm like, well, why are you guys, none of you look like bodybuilders. None of you are jacked. Some of them are, but the majority are not lifting big weights. Why? Because they find ways to lift the weights without working the muscles. They get beautiful, amazing, phenomenal technique to help them lift weight in a competitive environment. And for what they are doing, it's amazing. It has a whole culture behind it. It has so much technique and coaching behind it that I have nothing but respect for that. I have nothing but respect for that. But they need to understand that those lifts, when athletes do them for not other purposes that do not involve weightlifting in the Olympics, we're going to use a different form. We don't want to do specifically what they are doing because they're working less muscle. They're being efficient. That's not our goal. We're doing them to build power and to get big and thick, because a lot of those lifts and variations of them can build a lot of muscle and make you really powerful in certain ways. Okay? They're actually good for that. They have these exercises, just like anything else, have multiple uses. Right? They have more than one use, and it depends on what you're trying to do with them. And that's true of everything that we do. We can't be dogmatic. So what did I do today? I had thought about doing some hammer curls or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm going to do a little bit of hammer curls maybe. I don't feel like doing any of the other straight bar curls. I'm getting so much bicep work with all the pulling, and I'm about to be adding pull-ups back in. I need to focus on more hammer stuff for a bit and make sure I'm building all of the forearm and the brachialis to help with my benching and support musculature. I'm like, I'll probably do them on my lower body days a little bit, because my arms are getting really fatigued in general, and I really need the extra tricep work. We know we need more tricep specialization right now. We missed that lift today because of triceps. And I've done tons of pec and delt work. Like, we've covered all that. The triceps need the work. So we're going to do the rolling extensions. And I did, some of these went past 20 because of loose count. Last couple sets I stopped at 20. So I just have these 25s. I need to get some heavier dumbbells eventually, but these will work for now. 5 sets of 20. Come in and just do 100 reps. 100 reps, rolling extensions. Again, works the triceps in a way that carries over to bench pressing. Okay? We already did the heavy JM press for 3x10, and we work on a lot of tension there. And that's a great tricep builder for our bench. But we also need to just get the volume in. I need thicker triceps. I need my triceps to grow. And volume is king. And in this case, we're picking variations that work the heads that contribute to the bench the most. And it's not to say this won't grow your whole tricep. And people need to remember that there is no way to isolate heads of a muscle. Okay? On something like the tricep, if you do an exercise that hammers one head into the ground, it will cause growth in all three. Okay? Is that clear? Does anybody fail to understand that? It will just prioritize, and particularly prioritize the tension where you need it. And that's going to affect performance carryover. So in this case, I want to do movements that are, number one, easy on tendons, that do not cause inflammation. Okay. Number two, that will hammer the heads that I know I need to get the strongest. And then we do lots of volume with it. Because that inflammation matters. When we start talking about doing 100 reps, because we've already done other pressing and tricep work. If you're going with a smaller movement, if we're going to do 100 reps, it better not inflame your tendons. So this is a little more tendon friendly. So we're making sure that my triceps are being maximally stimulated. I need to take them to the edge. And we got a lot of pec work in. We got a lot of shoulder work in. We got all these other things upper back. Right, but we've got to get the triceps finished off. And they need to be a priority. They need to be for a long time for me. Right, it's the way I'm built. Triceps tend to be a weak link in my pressing. I'm big and thick in my torso due to my structure, due to my muscle insertions. Front delts grow easy as hell for me. I've got to get those triceps up, and I have long arms. My wingspan is long. I've measured it. I know what it is. So triceps can be a limiting factor, and we see it a lot on my pressing. So I need to hammer them into the ground, get them big, get them thick. And with me having a big torso structure and long arms, you know, I'm always going to look like I have smaller arms than I really do. So adding extra meat's never a bad thing. Having them an inch bigger than they need to be is never going to be a bad thing. But it was a great workout. I'm happy with it. Got a lot done. I hope it's been educational for you guys. So I hope it's been informative and entertaining. And I will talk to you guys next time.